Hello, my name is Samuel Enim. Today, my topic for discussion will be solely a political science topic. In fact, I have a great deal of interest in this particular topic because even during my undergraduate studies, it was the topic that I chose for my research project. Yes, and I'm talking about the role of international organizations in global governance. The role of international organizations in global governance. First of all, when we talk of global governance, it simply refers to the way the world is managed and also regulated. The way the world is managed and regulated. And this involves various actors like countries, international organizations, and civil society. In fact, I will say that global governance is mainly about addressing global challenges and also making decisions that affect everyone. So the international organizations, as I cited earlier, play a crucial role in this global governance. And they do so by addressing challenges, facilitating cooperation, supporting countries, and also setting standards. So, for example, international organizations like the United Nations, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Health Organizations play crucial roles. They address global issues like climate change, economic crisis, pandemics, and also human rights. Now, I'm going to select some of these international organizations and talk about their missions. Their roles in global governance. I can't talk about all of them because there are many. Yes, there are many. So I'll select a few of them, like 3 or 4, and talk about their roles. There are some that during my undergraduate studies I researched on, like the WHO. I remember I did the role of World Health Organization in Ghana's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. I did that one during my undergraduate, so I will not include it in this particular video. Maybe some other time. But this video, I'm going to focus on the International Committee of the Red Cross, the UNICEF, World Bank, and International Monetary Fund. I will have to choose between the World Bank and also the International Monetary Fund because even though they are two different organizations, but they play similar roles. So I'll choose either the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund. Okay, so now let's begin with the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC. This organization is a humanitarian organization that provides assistance and protection to humans affected by armed conflict and other crises. And when we say an organization or a group is a humanitarian organization, what it means is that that organization's main focus is to improve human welfare, particularly in times of crisis or need. So the humanitarian organization prioritizes human well-being. They prioritize human dignity and safety. And they do so by providing services like food, shelter, medical care, or even education. Now, here is an overview of the International Committee of the Red Cross. They have 2 missions, and their first mission is to protect and assist victims of war. That is, they provide humanitarian aid and support to the vulnerable population when there is armed conflict. So they support prisoners of war, they support civilians when there is a war. And their second mission too is to promote humanitarian law. You know, all these international organizations have rules and regulations. They have law that help them to achieve their goal. Okay, so the International Committee of the Red Cross too have laws, and they make sure that parties involved in armed conflict follow their rules. Now, here are some of the activities of the ICRC. 1, they provide humanitarian aid and support. Now, I have mentioned this particular activity over and over and over, and it is because this particular activity is the main activity performed by the ICRC to provide support in the form of food, shelter, and other essential items. Now, the second activity is reuniting families. Now, most of the times when there is a war, people move away from their homes, they run away for their safety. and they move from one village to the other, they move from one town to town. Even in some cases, they migrate from their countries to their neighboring countries. And when this happens, families are displaced, families are separated. So one of the goals of the ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, is to bring all these families together. A typical example is what happened in Boku in the Upper East region of Ghana. They just ended a tribal war in the Upper East, Boku. Families were separated, families were displaced. So it took the intervention of the ICRC to bring all these families together. Now, there are many other activities performed by the ICRC, like visiting detainees. Yes, they visit prisoners of war and other victims to monitor their health conditions and all that. But for the sake of time, I will wrap up by looking at some of the principles that the International Committee of the Red Cross use to work. Yes, some of the principles that they use to work. I will just mention them. They work with impartiality. They also work with their independence. Yes, the organization is what? Independent. So they are able to work on their own. They are independent. They work with impartiality. They also work with neutrality. Yes, they are all principles that the International Committee of the Red Cross use to work. Now, because of time, I will end with the ICRC and also talk about other international organizations. The next international organization is UNICEF. Now, UNICEF stands for the United Nations Children's Fund, and their primary mission is to enhance the lives of children worldwide and advocate for their rights. So to achieve this goal, this international organization implements a range of vital programs, including vaccination programs, educational support, nutrition programs, and also emergency response efforts. With the vaccination programs, it means that this organization works to immunize children against preventable diseases. There are some diseases that are preventable, like polio, diphtheria, measles, and so many other preventable diseases. So what they do is that they collaborate with government. They partner government and other stakeholders to distribute vaccines that will help to reduce child mortality. When it comes to the education programs, they do a lot. Yes, the UNICEF do a lot when it comes to education programs. They give scholarships to children. There is this scholarship scheme that I read on the internet, the KIND Scholarship Fund, Kids in Need of Desk Scholarship Fund. This scholarship scheme is based in Malawi. So they give it to children, particularly girls in Malawi, who are moving from middle school to secondary education. And this scheme covers their tuition, their textbooks, rooms, and everything. So the UNICEF do a lot when it comes to education programs. They even build classrooms. They provide learning materials like textbooks. They support teachers. They train teachers. And UNICEF do all this to make sure that they improve the lives of children, as it is their mission. Like I said in the beginning, the last international organization that I'm going to talk about is the World Bank. And I'm going to be very brief with this one because I don't want this video to reach 15 minutes, not even 14 minutes. Maximum 13 minutes or 12 minutes. Yes, I don't want it to be that long. So the World Bank. The World Bank is an international financial institution that provides loans and other financial assistance to developing countries. And their main mission is to reduce poverty. Yes, reduce poverty in developing countries and also improve their living standards. So they are composed of two different institutions. Yes, we have the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. And that institution is mainly for middle-income countries. Yes, they provide loans and also give financial assistance to middle-income countries like Brazil, Philippines, India, South Africa. Yes, and the other financial institution too is International Development Association. And that institution is mainly created for the poorest countries like my country, Ghana. Yes, we are poor. Maybe after my master's in the United States and I become a president, I will change that. Yeah, I will change that. I believe that I will change that. That was just by the way. So these are the two institutions for the World Bank. I have talked about 3 international organizations in global governance. I talk about the ICRC. I also talk about the UNICEF, and also talk about the World Bank. I am not going to talk about International Monetary Fund, the IMF, because it's almost similar to the World Bank. They both give loans. Yes, they both give loans, but they are not the same. It's similar, they are not the same. The difference is that the World Bank focus on long term. Yes, they promote economic development on long term, whilst the IMF to promote economic development on short term. Yes. So this is the role of international organizations in global governance. My name once more is Samuel Enim. Thank you.